Okay, so we go into the second part of today's presentations. We had a very interesting first part. We've discussed a lot, and I think we learned a lot. And I think, again, what we can do with these proposed methodologies with Melba, Ida, and Hamed, it's very interesting. Maybe Rasha could help us a little bit about these methodologies and how Valakupiai really got the opportunity to work with them. Please, Rasha, give us a little bit of insights.
Yes, thank you, Maria. So a short story how we selected the methodologies that we are using for almost 20 years now. So when the center was created in 2002, from the first step, it was a big focus on the standardized way of assessment. We were searching for the tools in a systematical tool to test different abilities, functional, psychosocial, different social skills, and also abilities related with some jobs or training programs and so on. So our colleagues in 2002 started to cooperate with a company who have had a license for IDA and Melba tools. It was a German, it is a German company, Miro. We are still working with them because we also do a training for a specialist. We are teaching, not only using, but also training others to use Melba and IDA tools. So IDA is a black box with a practical tasks, and it helps to evaluate the skills, how a person can write, read, or calculate, but also those like problem solving, like planning, adapting to the changing circumstances, and so on. So what is really important in daily life? It's not only about reading and calculating, but also like abstract thinking and so on. So so this is the IDA black tool. It was created in Germany, and they still do the training and sell these products. So if you, my advice would be just read about it more, think if it's useful for you, if it's according to your needs, and then it's possible to agree with a company to translate it to your national language, to adapt and use it, test it. So for now, we are using it 20 years, and it's still we get the answers about the person's situation and abilities. The negative point of this tool probably that it needs some time. It means that you meet individually with the person and you test him, you work with him, you communicate for maybe at least 2 hours to check how he's completing the tasks and so on. So it takes time. It's not a short interview, like half an hour or so. You have to plan on the agendas of every specialist. So, and IDA is used in our organization by psychologists and social workers because it's a tool for psychosocial skills assessment.
Okay. What about Melba?
So, and Melba is more like a documentation sheet, like for template for the documentation of different tools. So it's what is the right word? It helps to document everything what you test with the IDA tool. Right. And Melba and IMBA, it's like for documentation. So Melba is more for psychosocial skills, and there is a tool IMBA that also includes functional capacities of a person according the ESF. It's
very important.
A tool to implement ICF requirements on the national level, I would say.
Okay.
There was also a tool HAMET 2 presented.
Yes.
It's also German, and we use it in different workshops where the practical manual job is done. So it helps to test the service users in the beginning, in the period of vocational assessment and vocational orientation period. It helps to perform some simple tasks and to see how the hands are working, if he can do the task related with the fine motorics, to plan, to understand the task and so on. So it's more practical. And in our organization, HAMET 2 is used more by vocational training specialists.
I want to ask something, Rasa.
Yes, please.
When it comes to employability and skills, be it functional, be it abstract, all these things that we are talking about. I mean, in order to be able to evaluate what you have achieved in enhancing employability, you need to have an ex-ante employability test where when I come first, you test me and how I score. And then by the end of the program of vocational rehabilitation, you need to test me on the same tool again in order to see how I have increased my employability because of the program. Is it anything that can give us this ex-ante and ex-post comparisons?
Yes, these tools could help to check the progress, how a person has developed during the vocational rehabilitation periods, because usually it takes from 4 to 8 or 9 months, so it's a long period. And even most of the service users are already grown-ups, not the youngsters. So, but as it's quite long period, you can check the progress, because from the beginning, it might be quite, some skills could be quite low. And after 5, 6, 7, 8 months, it's possible to check the progress. But it wasn't like a procedure that we must do during our vocational rehabilitation program. But it's that these tools could help to do that.
Exactly. And we have a lot of questions about how, if you have any links that we can, Alexandra is asking us if there is any links that we can find these methodologies, or you said Miro, the organization who has IDA. We will check it. If you have the links, please send it to us and we will send to all the participants.
Yeah. As we have a long-term cooperation with Miro company from Germany, so we can send you the contacts of our great partner, Anke Kleffmann. She's professor, and the rest you can find, I think, on the internet, because HAMET 2, we don't have close contacts with them. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much. I think we covered a lot on that, and we got a lot of important information for all of us. Also to understand what we are lacking in terms of policy making and in terms of system functionality, our systemic functionality as Macedonia. How can we also create a kind of national strategy on vocational rehabilitation for vulnerable groups where rights and responsibilities are clearly defined and standardization is clearly also defined. This is something that we need to reflect a lot with our ministry colleagues also, and also with the service providers. I think it was incredibly important information for us. Thank you very much on that. We are going into Evgenia, am I right? And Evgenia will present to us working with youth and some information about the LEAD project. So, Evgenia, please.
Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Evgenia, and my colleagues informed that you are very eager to know more about our projects and our all the knowledges we have through all their working years. Yeah, and today I will present a bit more about one of our international project, LEAD, and maybe it's easier to see information, not only listen, but to watch as well. So I'll share my screen. Okay. Share. Yes. I hope you can see my slides. Yes, that's right. Okay. Just a moment. Okay, first of all, I want to make sure how long we can talk with you. So, as I know, till 1:20, yes, p.m.
Yes.
Yes, that's right. Okay. So you may see the topic of today, and presenting myself a bit. So I'm working as clinical psychologist as a main function, and involving in other projects, interesting activities. Of course, they are all related in somehow with disabled people. So at the LEAD project, I'm as an employment coordinator, and often my functions are both in practice way and creating methodological tools as well. So I have about 15 years experience working in the disabled people area. So okay, I cannot see the last slide. I put it, oh, okay, I see here. So main fact about that LEAD project. We joined that project from 2019, but I have the fact that our partners started a bit earlier, and one of their partners decided to quit, and then we, as a Valakupiaи Rehabilitation Center, we were invited to join them. So almost 3 years we are with our rest 3 partners. So Lithuanian partner, so we are, then Romania, they are leading partner, and Portugal, and the 4th partner is British. They are as our mentors, actually. They have a lot of experience. They have new models in working with disabled people, and they consult us, do trainings, and so on. So we are very thankful for the status employment. It is the name of organization. So that project is for the younger person. As you can see, we are talking about the age of 15 and 29. We may involve all the people with a disability, with all kinds of disabilities. But we do that in our countries. But other partners, as we noticed, they are more interested in working with mental health problems, intellectual disability, They are called not the intellectual, they are using learning disability, that term. But we we have their experience in all kinds of disabilities, so we do that. What else we could say? What kind of activities we do? Of course, employment of the young adults in all the meanings: recruitment, yeah, finding a job place, then training of that young adults, cooperation with the employers, with the, we are constantly searching employers who has a friendly attitude for the disabled persons. Then collaboration with the national institutions, which is important in employment of disabled people. Then methodological works like creating training sessions for the parents of that young adults, of the project participants. So we're trying to involve as many parts as possible, because it gives good effects. If we want as high employment as we wish. And one more training, it is the last project which we created. It's a training for the employers, to give them knowledge about the disability, the ethics in communicating with disabled people, to make them not afraid of disabled people, and so on. So as you see, quite many elements in the project is a target of ours as partners. And today I want to give you a bit knowledge from about one important model. We got that model, the knowledge, information about that model from our British partner. As I mentioned, they are as a mentor. And I'm talking about, just a moment, supported employment. I'm not sure, have you heard about it or not? But British partner, they are using that model, I don't know, maybe 30 years already, as an expertise, actually, they are experts. Okay, what is that supported employment? The roots of that model came from United States. We are talking about the funders of that model. The pioneer was Mark Gold, a psychologist and professor in one of the America's university. And he started in 1970. by creating a new attitude, a new model, how to make disabled people, and especially who are having learning disability, to get to the open labor market, to get open jobs. And he created program for these persons, through which these persons may complete complicated tasks and get that job. And the first target was to get the job in the company who produce bicycles, as I remember. And what he did, he made analysis of that job place and find that it is 24 steps which the person has to do to finish, to produce that bike, yeah, to finish their main product. And he created all the steps which is involved in supported employment. And the main principle is, so to say, the zero rejection. The main idea is anyone can be employed if they want paid employment and given sufficient support is provided. So to stress that anyone is able, yes, and sufficient support, the two main elements in that principle. Okay, let's go further. So the main principle of self-supported employment is individuality, respect, self-determination, informed choice, empowerment, confidentiality, flexibility, accessibility. All these terms are used when we are talking about both sides, the client, I mean the disabled person, and the employer. It is the main steps which we are going through the self-employment process. I will go through each steps and explain a bit more. But as you see, we start with the person engagement, doing important things with the vocational profiling, then engaging employer, job finding, on job support, and you can finish with the making career plan. It is just a figure of that process, okay? And one more picture of that process that illustrate that I have in English, yeah, so I put that graphic. As you can see, employer and employee, they are divided in the beginning, but in the end, through a supported employment process, they are getting together, yeah. But for that result, we have to make a lot of actions. So what actions should we do? So the first step is person engagement. First of all, we are constantly interested in the places where these people, these young disabled people, how to say, just constantly being, yeah, they are usually already after school. The school is finished, and what they do and where the activities they are doing in. So often we are talking about healthcare institution or social care institutions, maybe day center, vocational schools, and so on and so on. Or maybe sitting at home and that's all. And you have to read them, to search them somehow. So when you find that person, you have, we are calling them our clients, yeah? We have to get to know him or her and to identify, is he a job seeker or not? Or is he or she happy about his or her situation and don't want to change anything? So what we do, first of all, first contact, it could be done by phone call, through email or other way. Then first meeting, it is important all the aspects, the environment, where you are communicating with that person, to know all about his dreams, wishes, purposes of that person, about future plans maybe he has, and so on. Then what should we do to identify all the parts who are interested about that person? So maybe it is family members, healthcare specialists, the teachers, social workers, and so on and so on. So all this, how we are called, the support circle. So, and what else? We make informed choice for participation in self-employment. So from that point, we invite that person to participate in other steps, but if he is not interested in that, so we stop here and let him live as he was before that. But we are lucky, I guess, that more or less all the persons we met were interested, and they continued from other steps. So the next step is vocational profiling. It's a very important step, actually, as the core of that model of supported employment. So to say shortly, it's a tool for helping a person, a job seeker, to make decision, right, informed choice for the job, to identify a sufficient support strategy on job support. And why it is so important, by conducting this step, to getting know everything about that person, how it affects. It affects that it leads to long-term employment. It gives more success to do that. And later I will go through all the steps shortly to describe them, and then I'll give you examples just to show the documents, because every step we are not only communicate or doing actions, we also have to put everything in the documentation, yeah? Specific documents, and I will show how they okay. Next, continuing about the vocational profiling. What we get, so all the significant information. It's about the priority, vocational priority. Then about the environment which is suitable for that person. Because we have to have in our mind that disability makes some specificity in that person, abilities, personal features, and so on and so on. It's about the specific place. What else about the information? Specific place of that job. Then the type of job. Then the duration of their job day. Specific hobbies their person has, interests, and so on. What next? After getting that information, you try to make career plan and support strategy. For doing that, we also have to know all their skills, how self-independent that person is. Is he able to communicate or needs help in that? To go to that workplace. Is he able, or also we have to organize the specific, I don't know, transportation or something. Some practice, organizing some practice, or as we call job tasting in that specific job place. Identifying the needs of qualification. Is it enough, or do we need to seek more? Then, as I mentioned earlier, we create all the circle, all the net, all the support, because we as a supported employment specialist, we are not the only one element of support. Yeah, all other important aspects also as a family members, yeah, parents, brothers, sisters, and so on. They are also involved in that. What next? Then we create action plan with that person, you know, identifying what action do we need to do there, let's say half a year, or we make arrangement who is responsible for this or that, for the purpose we are reaching, what tasks do we need to do. It's important to make them written down, to see it in front of you, and to let that plan help you in the future. A bit more about the functions of self-employment specialist. Actually, it involves a lot of actions and tools we have to do. So it visits in the job placement, yeah, collaborating with the employer, meeting discussions with the employer, collaboration with local recruitment institution. Then to have as many examples of different jobs as possible. It's like I said, like a collection of that. Job search through all their channels as possible, internet, media, and so on. Friends, of course. Job interview training, you know, because young people not always ever tried to be as employed person, and they don't have they don't have any experience of how to present him or herself to the employer. What else? Very, very important function of supported employment specialist is being together in the beginning of the job. Whenever, if that person has already the contract, so it's perfect, but more often he or she doesn't have yet that contract. But we are trying to make him or her to have experience of the job. So different events is for that purposes. Job tasting, do a day. I don't know if you know about that. No, maybe it's more widely known in European countries, well, American and so on, more in West. I'll give you an example of a do-a-day event. So it's a one-day duration event when a friendly company agrees to, they invite disabled person, one or two, I don't know, they decide how much of persons, and let him or her to be all the day, or let's say half of the day, inside that company and to watch, or even to try to do something practically, yeah. And it's a very important experience for both sides, often for the employer, who practically sees that person is real and not so frightening experience, let's say, and from the other side as well, yeah, that disabled person also very interested in that, and lucky to have that experience. So through all that process, you as a supported employment specialist has to be together and go step by step with him or her. That support looks like that. And of course, organization of different groups as self-help groups or groups for specific training purpose and so on. Step 3, finding job, or other name matching the job. So we have to know all the needs of the job seeker and employer, and to combine it, yeah, to match it, to analyze a job in very detail, very carefully. So specific document we have for that. Creating new job, matching the client, economically attractive for employer. For example, if the job is complex enough, to divide job in a less complex parts. Of course, helping in preparation of CV, job interviews, and so on. Step 4, employer engagement. So it's a main step for collaboration with the employer. Through our meetings, discussions, we are able to change something in their beliefs, preconceptions about the disabled persons. Very important idea is that traditionally, in traditional practice, the process looks like that. First of all, the person has to be trained, and then making employment, yeah, recruitment. But the supported employment model says that it is not the best way. Actually, first of all, that person should be employed, then trained in that specific job place, and make him or her support for job retention, yeah, to make him as strong as possible to work in that place in long term. It's not easy to do that, and our employers, not everybody actually agrees with that attitude. But step by step, let's say we change that first employment, we modify and replace with their vocational practice or something, yeah, something practical. Okay, what else we do in that step? We're making trainings for that employer and his staff, let's say about different types of disability, about different types of state support, yeah, I mean Lithuanian state support in employment of disabled person, and so on. And the last step is on-job support. So we do the training again, yeah, of the topic, whatever they need. Consulting employer when they need, and consulting already employed person, yeah, disabled person, and the staff when they need it. Often it is about the conflicts, you know, fears, some crises, and so on. So we have to be here at the need. Yeah, it's the function of the supported employment specialist. And the last important thing, we identify personal purposes and putting them in action plan. Okay, so now I want to show you I want to show you the documents. We are going through all these steps of the model. But I have to ask you a bit because we have about 10 minutes left, and I have 8 different documents to show. So I'm not sure if I just scroll everything so quickly, or let's choose.
Can I ask something specific, Evgenia, so we can stay on time? For us, it would be very interesting to show us the job analysis document. You've talked about the job analysis document.
Yes.
This is for us is very important if it's possible.
Okay. So I will show you vocational profiling because it is, as I understand, it's actually main document and job analysis. Okay.
Make a job analysis based on tasks, and based on these tasks to make the training. So how do you really evaluate the tasks for the job? That's what we are interested in.
Okay, I will show you. So let's just a moment. Okay, so I share you the screen with the document. Are you able to see? Job analysis checklist? Yeah? Okay, it looks like that. We have 9 sheets all in all. And first of all, we get some basic information about the person. Sorry, not the person, about the enterprise, about the employer. Yeah. And then go to the next part about the concrete detail of the job and about the conditions of the job. So you see, we have to assess, to gather information about, sometimes to assess. Actually, usually we do that through discussion or through the practical experience. Sometimes as a supported employment specialist, we have to experience that jobs ourselves, to perceive it as much as possible, and to put everything to the document. Okay, so about the money, hours, yeah, benefits, opportunities. Okay, job characteristics and what kind of task it is required. So about lifting, about concentration, about workplace, about work pace, sorry, number of sequences of tasks, changes in daily routines. Okay, you see. Ability of co-worker support. It's very important because that person shouldn't be alone. Actually, we as a specialist cannot be constantly, but we are trying to identify specific persons for supports and leads further. But when it's if the employer says that you should also to be here to be involved, we have to do that. Okay. Yes. About the supervision, about visibility to the customer, types of equipment. Okay. Then about environment characteristics. Is it accessible? About the size of that environment, the temperature, noise, lighting, dust, chemical hazards, housekeeping, special protective equipment, and so on. Then job requirements. We are talking about the skills that the person should have. So, appearance, yeah, sometimes it's very important how to look like. Verbal communication, the level of that ability, functional writing, functional reading, watching, listening, initiation of something, social interactions, calculations, object discrimination, ability to tell the time, ability to cross street. Of course, we are talking about lower ability of the person. Okay, what else? About financial support required, job accommodations, some adaptations, what we do, what we need to do, some specific requirements. Is the job description already done or not? You know, labor turnover. Yeah, some general comments. So as you see, we have to write something about the general willingness to employ, that positive attitude. Do we identify it or not? Yes, some particular issues or problems in placing people with disabilities, some particular benefits for recruitment disabled person. And in the end, we fix the date, signature, our name. So it is the document for the job analysis. Do you have any questions on that? Microphone.
Other things as well. So I have some questions because it's very interesting, and I would say it's intriguing, not only interesting. In the previous presentation that we had from Juste, the steps were different. You evaluate the person, the capacity for social skills, the knowledge on skills, etc., etc. They choose a training program, IT, cleaning, carpenter, whatever. They get the training, and then they start looking for a job. You are saying to us, and I totally agree with you, that is the system, that first you need to identify the job, see what it needs in practical, what it needs in social skills, And based on what the job tasks are requiring, you create an individual tailor-made program. That's the difference. Your program, in order to work, it needs to be tailor-made to the job and to the person, where Justice model is horizontal, the person at the center, the skills at the center, the employer and the employment in the periphery. From your, and I invite also Rasa and Juste to give us an idea. What do you think functions better?
So maybe I'll comment a bit what you have noticed from our presentations. So the model Juste presented, yeah, it is official one, which is from the Lithuanian state, yeah, from the law. It comes from the law. And the model from that LEAD project, it is not that official way, but we are trying to implement it because we believe it is the, I don't know, it is the best way, but it is really good way. And from their consultancies, the British partner, watching the big experience and how do they, how they implement it. So it's a really, really, well, it functions good.
Right.
Yeah.
Evgenia and everybody, before we go into more questions from your side, we want to show you a video. This video is from the USA, and it's actually exactly your model. And it's a 3 minutes video of people in employment who have been employed and sustained their job exactly using the model that Evgenia has presented to us. So Eva, please share the video.
Okay, thank you.
I like to be around people and just enjoy being out. I like that job.
Full screen, Eva, please.
I take, they're around 11. I'm thinking about gonna have a good day. I have a lot of work friends that,
Press the video.
you know, in the kitchen.
I'm going to share with you one thing that you can add to your water to make your body a vibrant machine. Also,
And if I'm scheduled to dish, I do the dishes, put them away, and do the garbages and recyclables.
When we opened Camille's 11.5 years ago, we thought, well, why wouldn't we hire someone with a disability? There was no reason that they couldn't do the job just as well as anyone else. The main reasons we hire people with disabilities is because they're really good workers and a tremendous asset to our business. They are here for a long time, a great longevity record. Their attendance is exemplary. They have an enthusiasm and pride in their work that we don't see in a lot of workers. There are really no more obstacles than hiring any other member or employee.
I worked at Camille's for 9 years. I like working here because I like to work hard, and I know I do a good job. I feel really good. I love getting that paycheck because I feel like I'm.
At Camille's, you know, we like to think of ourselves as a family, and they're part of our family. And they just give that dimension that we're part of a bigger picture. Customers appreciate that. The employees here appreciate that. And I think anything that we can do to spread the word that everybody has an ability just takes somebody to find what it is and somebody to give that person a chance to show that ability. And that's what's really important.
It made me feel like they were doing something that many employers don't do, and that it was something that was very important for the community, because I will support them and I enjoy coming here.
This is my second job. I get to learn a lot of different sandwiches and how to make them. The customers out there tell me that I do a good job, and that makes me happy.
Everybody is on our team and has a very important role to play.
It's a whole community. And everybody in this community has the ability to add something to it.
Gives me faith that perhaps more employers will do what Camille's is doing.
I'll have 11 years in November. I am pretty excited that things have gone so well.
Okay. Thank you, Eva. Apologies for the video sound, maybe because we are many. We didn't have the proper capacity to, but we will send the link to the video and you will watch it. So what we saw here, we saw a sensitive employer who has a cafeteria and a restaurant, takeaway, call it what you want, and it has significant number of disabled people working. In these posts, in posts that have high visibility to the customers. It's not that they are behind the screen, they are in front of the screen. If we had more time, and definitely during the trainings that we will do on employment and personal planning, I will also share with you the Proteas experience, which was an EU Equal project on adaptability. How do we adapt the employer's position in order to match also the needs? Because usually we adapt the person's skills and very little adaptation because it's costly most of the times for that. But anyway, that was really based on what Evgenia told us, because these people were trained inside the restaurant and they were trained specifically to do the tuna sandwich in the way that the restaurant is doing the tuna sandwich. You see what I mean? I mean, beyond the social skills, the training that is taking place is personalized, is tailor-made, and it is on the job. So thank you very much, Evgenia. It was a very, very important knowledge to know that we can work with youth on this area. Maybe you have questions from the participants.
Please ask if you want to. But it was really well, nice to meet you and to spread the idea wider. Yeah.
I would like to ask you, would it be possible that you can share with us these tools and the templates, the documents, to have an idea how we could adapt to our own realities in Macedonia? We are far away, for sure, from where you are, but this is a learning process for us for the future. So at least we have a vision where we can go in the future. It would be very important for us if we could share your documents. I don't know if Rasha has anything to say. It will be very interesting to see them.
Mm-hmm. Actually, we will discuss with the team what exactly could we share, and I guess we could do that.
Maybe it would be a value added for your leader, the British mentor, to know that more than 75 participants from another country, from more than 25 different organizations, state, public, NGOs, etc., are very interesting in also being a little bit mentor and learn a little bit from you as well. So we will appreciate, and we will be very happy to send a letter to your leader requesting this support. I'm sure that our colleagues would be very interesting to see this documentation.
Okay. I'll do what I can. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Evgeny. Thank you very much.
See you.
Okay, from Katica, Eva.
We have a question. On which way do you recruit young people to come and join you? How do you reach out to them to be part of this project that you have?
As I mentioned you, first of all, we are having contacts with some specific institution, as daily centers, as vocational schools, and all the possibilities. And of course, they are clients in our center, because we have a lot of activities, from medical rehabilitation to vocational things. Yeah, so we are lucky that we can we may attract different kind of persons with different disabilities, and that's the way we are contacting that persons. Maybe you may also do some similar way.
So they are not referred from the labor office. They are not referred from they are referred from the labor office. Do you have referrals from educational environment?
No, we are doing ourselves. Yeah, nobody sends the client to us. I mean, for that LEAD project. Yeah. When we are talking about vocational rehabilitation, then yes, it's another process.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, but about that, implementing that new model, so it's...
Yes.
It would be a great... sorry.
Sorry, Rasha, you were saying?
Just shortly, I wanted to add to Evgeny words that it would be our dream, you know, that it would be a referral from the schools, that it would be like, you know, continuous services for youngsters who don't go to another kind of vocational trainer. So it's our dream, and it's now what we do, it's our marketing of our services. So it depends on our own initiatives, and it takes a lot of efforts and energy. So it would be great to have a referral system.